YouTube, my name is Ojovies and welcome to the final episode of Can They Be DLC? It's coming in a little bit later than usual, mostly because I did do this on, I believe, Sunday, but because I kind of rushed it because of having to go to work. It didn't come out as good as I wanted it to, and I fumbled a lot or I sped through a lot of it. And I don't want to do that this time. I wanted to make it a good, clean video. Not clean, but a good video, because I probably will fucking swear. There you go. And, you know, Can It Be DLC if any of the series is here? Well, it technically speaking isn't the end. And you'll get to why I said that when we get to the basically the end of the show. But it will involve when the DLC is done. And obviously today is a tier list video, so I'm going to put everything that every episode that I've done basically tiered in a tier list, and we'll get to the tier list in a little bit. But first, let's talk about the news. The news from this week is that we are getting a Pokemon Direct tomorrow, so we just have to wait a little bit and we'll get news on Pokemon. The Nintendo Direct, a general Nintendo Direct, most likely will happen within the next 2 weeks. We've had a scheduled basically on it. On my Pokemon Direct prediction, I state like the dates and the times between each Pokemon Direct and a general Direct. So we most likely will be getting a Direct in the upcoming week. I would bet the 15th or the 16th. So either or, I think the 15th would be better for me because I'm not at work. Funnily enough, I remember looking at my schedule last month when I got my schedule for this month and looking at the 8th and the 9th and even the 10th this entire week and thinking, dude, it's gonna be so sweet if we get a Nintendo Direct in these days, because I was like, it's Direct is gonna happen on this time. Technically speaking, I was correct. I'm like, it's gonna be so fucking cool, dude. On those days, like on the 8th, it's my day off. On the 9th, I get out of work at 3 p.m. and on the 10th, I get out of work at 2:30 p.m. and what the fuck happens? The Direct gets announced, and on the 9th, I'm like, cool. Time, I see the time, it's 6 a.m. Pacific, and I'm like, okay, what's that? What time that's it for my time zone? And it's like, oh, 2:30, 30 minutes before I leave work. Lovely. Thank you, Game Freak, and thank you, Nintendo. You just had to F me up. But still, most likely we're getting a Direct soon because there was Nintendo did do some more trademarks for Splatoon, Pikmin, and there was another one. I think it was Zelda. I think it was Zelda that got it. I know it was 3. It was Splatoon, it was Pikmin, and it was Zelda, I think. It was something else I'm forgetting. But also we had the Splatoon 2020 picture, which is going to be on screen right now, which has the Happy 2020, then SOS on the water, but even SOS reflected on the water, I should say, and then in the water itself it says save our salmon, I think, which hints at a possible game coming up. I hope it's a spin-off. I think that the Splatoon 3 would be a gigantic waste by Nintendo's side. I also think that it would make no sense given the fact that we had the Splatoon team, supposedly, I believe, I could be wrong, a lot of the Splatoon team is a part of the Animal Crossing team, so the Animal Crossing coming out this year, it feels kind of like a waste. And yeah, let's get on to the tier list itself. So first, let me go to the page and put this full screen for myself. Where's the full screen thing? Why can I not find full screen? Why am I being an idiot? Why can I not find full screen? Okay, there you go. I was being an idiot. I legit was being an idiot. So here is the thing. So wait, let me first clean my glasses because something is in my glasses and it was really aching and annoying me. And god damn it, I cannot see anything right now. My hand is cold as bricks because of fucking the weather in Portugal. It's like 1 degree outside. So anyway, let's get on to the thingy. So as you can see, each tier has obviously a name, because of course it would. So we have everyone is in, so the characters that have been confirmed to be in. So to start off, we're just gonna put the boys that have been confirmed to be in Mr. Banjo and Miss Kazooie. And where is the hero? Where's Hero? Where? Oh, there he is. Okay, so there's Hero. So Hero goes there, head chopped off a little bit. And, okay, so that's in. The characters that got in that I predicted. Also, I think these were the only two characters I ever said were guarantees. I did believe a lot of characters that we're going to be discussing could be in, but I think only Banjo-Kazooie and Mr. Hero were the ones that I said. I did say Herdrick, that's why I put Herdrick here, but Hero is basically kind of what I said it was going to happen, the Dragon Quest main character, but not the way I said. Then we have They Can as the highest of tiers. Outside of being in, which is obviously the highest of tiers, we have They Can, as in they can be DLC. I would say the characters that most likely have a bigger chance of getting into the game right now or in the future. Then They Might, which is not incredibly high, but it's not basically one of the most likely ones, but just below that. Then we have Greninja. Greninja is the 50th character in the Super Smash Bros. Entry list, so it's a character that could be, it's a 50-50 toss basically, and there will be some that I will explain why I believe they could be 50-50s. Then we have Will They, which is below 50. They're not exactly like bottom of the barrel of like choices or like likelihood of being in, but they're also not like the top picks. Then Can They, which is a character that have very on the lower spectrum of all the DLC we discussed. Deconfirmed, basically the characters that for Character Pack 5 and for maybe the entirety of the DLC have been deconfirmed, and then 0% chance characters that will not be in Smash. So for the characters that aren't going to be in Smash, let's just get out of the way and put Goku there, because Goku is not going to be there. Now, there will be some things here that I will have to explain. For example, there is a Xenoblade Chronicles logo here. And why is the logo here? Well, that goes into why I said this is going to be a I'll be doing another episode of Candy BLC in the future, because I was gonna do this episode, technically speaking, in 3 parts, but then I realized that's gonna be like an hour-long video, because the last one was 40-something minutes, and it was with me rushing at times, and also having to do a lot of cuts for other stuff, like forgetting to, like 10 minutes in, forgetting to starting the recording on the screen to show the tier list. But it was going to be part 1 was going to be Fighters Pack 5, which we're still doing. The first tier list I'll be making today will be for the Fighters Pack 5, number 5. Then do another one for Season 2, who could be a part of Season 2. And then finally doing a third one for the next game, the next Smash game. And that's what Xenoblade was going to be in, because it could logistically happen, having another Xenoblade character showing up in it depending on when the game came out. Some characters, because of the way this is done, can barely show up, and you will see like there's 2 Master Chiefs. There's one here and another one here. So the reason why they show up here and here is mostly because of one is Halo with a game and the other one is Halo without a game. Should Halo come to Switch or should Halo not come to Switch? So the Halo with a Switch, Master Chief with the game on Switch, with Halo on Switch, is this one, this little guy, and then the other one would be this guy, because backgrounds. I think that's everything explained about these things. So let's get started off. Before we actually no, let's get started. Before we get to actually rating characters and stuff, let's just get some of the things out of the way. So first on the deconfirms, we have stages. We'll have, where is it? Zelda. And basically, let's just put Xenoblade here, King Boo. Xenoblade obviously is going to fit for every character that's in here for the Xenoblade Chronicles characters. And we have Echoes, we have character variants, let's put costumes. This is all for Character Pack 5, because obviously they're not a part of it. Let's also include, unfortunately, Resident Evil. And where is the next one? Where was the other one? Where's the other one? Where is it? I cannot find it right now. Where is it? Mr. Sans as well, and well, fortunately I did predict it was not going to be in. Then we also have to include, for now, Rex. Oh no, I was going to say Xenoblade's logos fit for the entirety of Xenoblade. Then obviously the twins, Ring Fit Trainer, because they never really stood a chance. And for some reason my capture card, my not capture card, my memory card is saying I only have 30 minutes to record. I hate when my computer does this, when it doesn't freaking save anything. Delete the shit that I put on the PC. Then obviously, Wonderful 101 will not be Character Pack 5. Then let's also put characters that could be Character Pack 5 but won't be because of their company already having a game, so to speak. So I would put Minecraft Steve in here. I'll put Battletoads. Where's Joanna Dark, which we only can see her thigh or her thighs. Where's the other? Yeah, Killer Instinct. So basically all the characters here. Oh, the Pokemon, let's just put Cinderace to represent the Pokemon. These are for better or for worse. Geno, I don't think it will be Character Pack 5. I do think it's going to be DLC, but not Pack 5. I think that's about it for the characters. Obviously, not going into all the Nintendo characters. Well, let's put Edelgard here for now as a fighter for Fire Emblem. So the deconfirmed characters are obviously a lot already deconfirmed. So obviously I removed all the first party Nintendo characters because obviously the DLC, the Fighters Pack, is probably just going to be the third party characters. Also, I have to apologize for the drilling noises that you're probably hearing. For whatever reason, my neighbors are once again drilling. It's been months without drilling and now they're drilling again, and it's really annoying. At least this time is not as loud as it was before, but you can still probably hear. But I put obviously all the characters from the first party. The costumes I have to put for costumes. Obviously all the DLCs and the stages I don't think we'll see. Because it's for the final Fighters Pass. Obviously a stage will not be it. Probably not an Echo as well, or a character variant. Then I also put in obviously all the first parties because we've had their parties. Then the Microsoft characters, I think I've said before, the only company I see having a second fighter in a Fighters Pass would be Microsoft. And then I put Resident Evil as deconfirmed because, well, we basically have the deconfirmation of Resident Evil thanks to the Spirit that just were added to the game very recently, so it would most likely happen that they wouldn't be a part of this DLC or the second season. I think they're also deconfirmed for second season because I think that if we're going to do a Spirit board event when the second season was already not only confirmed, not only decided upon, but confirmed, and you do a Spirit event for anything and you include the franchise, it becomes very much like, I think they would save it, you know, if they have the right to. If Resident Evil was to come, why would they waste already the Spirits event that would put with the character, which they could just put with the character? Then Sans also gets attached to this because he got the Megami costume after DLC Season 2 was only decided, but confirmed. If they wanted to put Sans in, they would have never done the Mii costume now, of all times. They would have not even put it the costume. You could say, well, but they could have put the costume and they just could have released it. That would be fair, and that it's a fair statement. The fact of the matter, but I would still counter that with the fact that they could have done that. And you're very correct. Problem is, they also included Megalovania, which is a weird one to include with the costume already if the character or anything Sans or anything Undertale or Deltarune related. So that's why I think he's basically deconfirmed for Fighters Pack number 5 and for Wave 2 of the DLC, and even maybe it can be for Wave 3, but for that you have to wait and obviously see. Now here's where it gets interesting. Now we have basically the tier lists that actually matter. So let's start off with the very lowest of the low of can they, will they, like the very smaller percent chances of some characters. So I think very few characters are actually in here. I would include, however, I would probably include in the can they, the very bottom of the barrel, like lower tier, I would put, honestly, Kazumi. You can only see her ass, funnily enough, but Kazumi, an assassin, and Rayman. Now, obviously, let's put this in order exactly. Obviously, these are not in order because I think none of them will be, so it doesn't matter. But here, I put them in order. I think that Kazumi might be more likely. Well, here's now. Rayman should be the more likely one of all of them, because Kazumi depends a lot, in my opinion, of can Ryu Hayabusa be a part of Smash or not. If he can, lovely. If he can't, well, and that doesn't work, or he or she won't be in, then the same thing for an assassin character. I do believe that assassins will be in eventually. We have the games on Switch. We don't know how successful they have been, but Miyamoto likes the design. The design is iconic enough. It's the most probably the most popular Ubisoft character right now, but it all depends on who Sakurai chooses. I think that above him, probably above the assassins, there would be Rayman and the rabbits, especially after Kingdom Battle. Then also we have to put in Bad Guy, although I do think he could be a cool character and he has a cool mechanic and gimmick that could introduce into Smash. I don't think he will very likely be in. And also I'll put in here too the level 5 characters, because level 5 has just gone down, and even more down than before. They keep going down. It's a shame. Recently they announced a Yokai Watch game, but they didn't give it a proper announcement. They just announced it on Twitter. The head of level 5 announced it on Twitter. Yokai Watch Plus in Japan for PS4 and Switch sold very, very poorly. The PS4 version launch week didn't touch the 2,300 units, I believe. It could have been 2,800 units, but still very, very poor numbers for such a big franchise just a couple years ago. This is why I remember seeing it in 2015, the franchise being so big, and I doubting that it would have lasted. And a lot of people also remember seeing when they started to really milk the franchise, say, they're gonna beat this like a dead horse, and they did. Yokai Watching is in a very bad state. In Japan, although it did great numbers for the Switch original release of Yokai Watch 4, it did 250,000 plus. I think it's about 300,000. I don't have the exact numbers on it, so don't quote me on that. But it did. If it did that, that's still great numbers. But it did worse than Dragon Quest XI's, which was a 2-year-old port on Switch. And it was a tremendous drop from the previous games that did like 3 to 4 million. Yokai Watch 2, all versions combined, sold 6 million. I do believe it's a little bit cheating when you combine all of those versions to say it sold better than Pokemon, but that's beside the point. And another one that I feel bad for doing this, but it's Agumon. Although I would love Digimon to be in it, I do think he is on the lower side of the spectrum. Well, not there, I wanted to put him right there. But what can you do? I don't think he is that likely. Then we'll reach Will They, the mid, not mid-tier, but close to mid-tier. So for that one, I will put Soul Calibur, because I don't know, it feels weird. It's basically the bottom of the bottom, let's put it that way. I do think that there are other franchises from Namco Bandai that would go up first, like Tekken and for Tales of, and you know, it just feels like it would be. Another one for I would put in here would be DMC. I don't think Devil May Cry would be in the next one. I feel like Monster Hunter probably will be the next Capcom franchise to get a character. Should Capcom do it? Should we get a Capcom character? But at the same time, it's weird. We already have some type of Monster Hunter representation in Smash, but we don't have Monster Hunter as a character or a stage. So, you know, it's a weird one. Then in here I also include Pyro, or Spyro, not Pyro, because I think of all the Activision characters that we'll be discussing in a little bit, I think he's the lowest one that would get in. I don't think he would get in over Tracer or an Overwatch character, or over Crash Bandicoot. So, you know. Then to put also in here, a character that technically speaking is possible to be in Smash, but I think very, 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 very unlikely right now, would be Master Chief without a game. So he's actually amongst the bottom, although actually above Spyro. Here's the thing, Master Chief still has a chance with or without a game. For the simple reason that he not only it's Master Chief, and he does have a small appearance on the Nintendo systems with the Minecraft Master Chief Caution, which I believe it's available on the Wii U, 3DS, and Switch versions of Minecraft. If it isn't, then I would then put him at Kende. But I believe he's a part of those games. He's there. Now, you could argue, does that count as an appearance for Master Chief? And that's kind of blurring the lines a bit, I guess. But technically speaking, you could say so. but it's unclear. It would depend on whether Sakurai counts it or not as an appearance. Remember that he had misgivings about Cloud being in Smash 4 because of his lack of Nintendo appearances, had it not been for the Kingdom Hearts cameos. Another ones that I would put in Will Day, not very bottom, but still up there, would be, well, actually closer to the bottom, would be Nindies, just because it could happen. It legit could happen, and it will be the biggest sign of support for an indie studio, outside of giving them a mainline series. Now, obviously, giving Kang the Survival being a spin-off, that's fine, but giving it like, okay, here you go, make a real Zelda game, or here you make Mother 4 or something like that. Outside of those things, I would say Character in Smash would be the biggest show of support for Nintendo could give to the indie community, but I think depends on, like, because I've obviously talked about some indie characters coming to Smash, and some of them are in the tier list, so I would like to rank them individually. And for that, going off of that, higher than Indies, probably higher than Master Chief without a game, would be Candace, because hey, she did have a spin-off with the Zelda universe and it did well. We just got recently a free DLC that was never advertised, where you could play as one of the villains from the game, which is cool to see, and it was a weird one. Also, I think I should have put it before in Canday, Mr. Jonesy, because I don't think he will be a part of the DLC. He already was a weird one to talk about, but Fortnite is a big game. We needed to talk about it. So let's just discuss that he won't be in. I don't think so. If he was going to be in, I think the most likely scenario would have been the announcement at the Game Awards. And with that in mind, let me see, does anyone else belong in the Can Day or Will Day? Phoenix Wright, because I forgot about him for a moment. Again, I think he would be more likely than Dante, but again, Monster I think is the more likely one of all of them. That's obviously just my opinion, but it could logistically, it could happen, but I very much doubt so. Another one that I was completely forgetting, Dark Souls, the Chosen Undead. Can he be DLC? He can, he has a high chance of being in there, but I think there's one or two characters from Namco right now that I would say are more likely to be in over it. One of them, I think it's a 50-50. The one is actually pretty damn high up there, and we'll get to those in a little bit. So yeah, I think that will be it for Will Day, and now I think it's time for us to go into the fifth. Now, unfortunately, as I was looking over, now we have to put some of them here. Can they? I think it's very unlikely, and it probably should have been in the Will Day, but I still think she could be in, and it will be Lara Croft. The problem with Lara Croft, actually no, she has to go in deconfirmed because of my rule of the only Microsoft being the only company that probably will have a DLC character, so yeah. Another character that probably will be in Will Day, I forgot about him for a second there. It will be, now actually, Travis Touchdown. Now let's start with the Greninja section, the 50-50s, and I'll put Travis Touchdown, because Nintendo seems to be investing a little bit in No More Heroes 3. It was brought to the Game Awards, not to the main show, but to the pre-show, and they did advertise it. And Nintendo seems to be going, not all in, but going significantly in the favor of No More Heroes 3. And obviously I think they're publishing it. I think they're just publishing it. I don't think they're funding it or anything. But I think this is one of the weird ones that Nintendo would go with it. Suda51 has multiple times said he would be fine with and wanted Travis in Smash. And I think it would be a cool character to work. I know some people will be like, oh, another sword wielder. But I don't think that's a valid complaint, because I think it could be a very good mix between like a sword wielder, like say Marth or Chrom or Roy, and a Greninja, not a Greninja, an Incineroar, being a wrestler, a grappler, throwing people around. I think that would be really, really fun. Then also in the 50-50s, we'll have to include Monster Hunter, which I would put higher than Travis. Travis, I think, is the lowest of the 50-50s. Monster Hunter, I don't think we're gonna get a Capcom character. I don't think so. I think if we were gonna get a Capcom character, we should have probably gotten in the base roster, but we didn't. But we could be seeing a direct, say, in 2 weeks. Normally the dates between directs and the Pokemon directs is 1 to 2 weeks. So if the direct is in 2 weeks, that will be after the Osaka, Japan's event, Japan for Monster Hunter in Osaka, Japan. So I should have said it. And I believe it's an event. I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's an event for Monster Hunter. So it could be where Monster Hunter Switch is revealed. And given the fact that, let's say that there is a direct in 2 weeks, the direct would be after this. I think this would happen, I think it happens like on the 17th or the 18th. So in 3 weeks, or the 20th, I forget. It's between the 16th and the 20th. So if it did happen in 2 weeks and then the direct will land on the 22nd or the 23rd, so 2 weeks after the Pokemon Direct, I should say. Then it would happen after that event. If that is when Monster Hunter gets announced, I could see them announcing Monster Hunter as a Smash character in the the direct following that. And the justifiable reason for why it wasn't at the Game Awards is also why some characters will have to be in Greninja. They might and they can, is because of the Game Awards and they're not present there. There has to be a reason for it, I would say. But obviously, that's just speculation on my part. And we'll explain, like, if Monster Hunter is coming to Switch, they would want to keep it as a secret, and getting a character in Smash would make people think like, oh, it's coming, it's happening. You could say, well, but Banjo has not led to two games from Banjo-Kazooie in Smash or on the Switch. True, but it did lead to. But we are having Microsoft games coming to Switch. And some insiders. I'm starting to. I've always been very much anti-insiders, and it's good to believe insiders, but also be skeptical about it. That's how I've been going on about nowadays. With some insiders having proven themselves to be actually reliable. I've said it before. That I wasn't particularly fond of Emily Rogers because I didn't believe in a lot of the things that she said. I believe that she was very much throw shit at the wall and see what sticks, or very obvious predictions. And somewhat over the past year, she's done a better job at doing leaks, let's put it that way. Not really leaking anything, being vague about it, but being very specific in the vagueness, which I'm fine with that. And her, alongside others, have been really going in on more Microsoft things. I don't think she said anything about it, but the others, like King Zell, which is very reliable, has been very, I think he's only been incorrect like a few times, has said multiple times that Halo is coming to Switch and that there's more of a relationship growing between Nintendo and Microsoft, and it's going to keep on going this year. So, you know. It feels weird that Monster Hunter wouldn't be here, or that's what I was going. I was like lost track there. So Banjo would represent that. You could say that Hero brought in. It didn't bring in because already coming Dragon Quest to Switch, but Dragon Quest has always been on Nintendo. It missed a couple generations. I believe only one. I could be wrong. Of Nintendo systems, maybe two, but it's there. It's a staple. So it made sense. And it was a big staple in Japan, so the only one right now that's off a little bit would be Persona 5, not coming to Switch, but we do have Scramble, and Persona Q2 was a thing on 3DS, but still. Then also in the 50-50s, but amongst the lowest one would be Cuphead. It will be interesting because they already knew that Cuphead was coming to Switch when they made the DLC choices. It will be a cool entrance and a cool character to have, but I think them alongside Shantae, which also ranks here, also like Travis Touchdown. They have a reason to it, they could be it, but it's in the more doubtful side. I'm hopeful for Travis and Shantae, and I would love Cuphead as well, but I very much, they're in the lower half of the 50-50s. It's like, they legitimately could happen. It's a thing that legitimately could happen, and if it did happen, I would be happy, but not surprised, not shocked. I mean, I will probably be shocked at the moment, like, oh my god, it's actually fucking happening. But I wouldn't be, but thinking back on it, it's like, oh yeah, it definitely could have happened. But it was here and there. Then also, in the 50-50s, I will have to put, actually, I forgot to put one in will they, and closest to the bottom, which would be Mortal Kombat, just because it doesn't feel right. It's a possibility, and again, another one that I wouldn't be shocked if it did happen. Actually, I would be more shocked if it didn't happen, but more surprised than shocked, because it's one thing I could see it happening. There's a reason and an argument that could be made, but I don't particularly think it would happen. Then for the 50-50s, I'm gonna have to include Crash Bandicoot high in there, and Tracer. Now, again, it all depends on when DLC was chosen, whether or not I went with will they, not can they, or Greninja. Right there, both of them. They feel right to be there. It makes sense for everything, the push that they got, but at the same time, it's a weird one with the Activision Blizzard thing. And the Hong Kong thing. It could have been that Nintendo decided to weather the storm, wait it out, maybe delay the character and swap it out for character pack 1 for DLC Season 2, who could be released around the same time, and then release the character in, just because of the reaction from Hong Kong, which could explain, or after what Activision did, or Blizzard did for the Hong Kong Hearthstone player, and weather the storm and wait it out, and Nintendo swapping it out, so that's why I put it 50-50. I also think that they are likely choices. Overwatch is on Switch, Crash Bandicoot is a popular franchise, but them alongside, and I have to put Doomslayer and where is he? Dragonborn as 50-50s for the simple reason that now looking back in hindsight, obviously hindsight is 2020, but it does feel very much like Nintendo in the Banjo-Kazooie video presentation, they kind of told us not to expect any more Western characters, because Sakurai was pleasantly surprised of how well he worked with Toby Fox and Grant Kirkhope when it came to music, and he thought that there was going to be like a language barrier to rely what he wanted to for the songs, but he didn't, and they ended up working fine. So I think that now maybe for the next season I would put them maybe at they might. I think all these 4 characters will be at they might for the next season, because it seems like Sakurai might be a little bit more open with working with Western studios and working with Western companies. Now we get to, oh yeah, let's put one more at 50-50, which is Sora. I don't believe Sora will be in. I think there's a lot of things going up against Sora, and one of them being businessmen. So I just put it here. I don't think he will, but it's another one of that. I'll be glad that it's over. That's why I will say this. I will be glad that it's over. Although the fan base absolutely doesn't deserve it. I'll say this a million times. The fan base of a popular character that feels the need to remind the company that knows that the character is popular, is a little bit annoying. If it was a character like, say, Wonder Red, or maybe even, I don't know, the Battletoads, or heck, Lara Croft. Reminder that, like, she's a popular character, guys. You could put it in Smash and people would love it. I would get it. But a character as big as Sora, it's a little bit annoying. And now we reach to the they might and they can't. So let's put the 2 characters, I think, because we now are left with 5 characters. We have Heihachi, Ryu Hayabusa, Cosmos, Lloyd Irving, and Master Chief. So I'm gonna put the characters I think have the higher chance. Now, sometimes we'll hear people say like, oh, but it's only one character. How can you just say they have 90% chance? That leaves 10% open. And I'm saying based on the character alone, not compared to any other character. This is just based for fun and to rank what could or can't be, or like would have the higher probability of being in. The probability is just that, the probability. It doesn't need to, we don't need to look that deep. So first let's put the they might be, because I think, funnily enough, I think there might be more characters in they might than less characters in they might than they can. Actually no, I'm gonna be fair and say for they might, I'm gonna put Heihachi, if the thing would go up, Mr. Ryu Hayabusa higher than Heihachi, if it would allow me, and again you can just see their crotch, and Master Chief with Halo coming to Switch. Now the reason for all these 3 is simple. Heihachi, popular character, Sakurai has expressed before they liked him. He was a Mii costume in Smash 4 that is missing from Smash 5. It could be that we're gonna get an Emco character in Smash, but the fact that he was missing, that he is missing, and he missed the DLC that had just the fighting game characters in, makes it more likely. I know the argument could be made about the voice actor dying, but the fact is the character is not going to speak in Smash. They're just going to reuse voice clips. And again, if they were going to go with that, then the voice actor dying would mean that this is the final game, but it's going to include Incineroar as a playable character, because Incineroar is a DLC. It is voice acted by the same person, and I don't think that's going to be a thing. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it could be. Even there might be more against recasting, but I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up doing it eventually. Ryu Hayabusa, very likely. Koei Tecmo is a company that has supported Nintendo a lot, but they don't have a character in Smash yet, which was a little bit weird. They don't have too much representation. I think they have Spirits and an assist trophy, and that's it, I think. And even the assist trophies and Spirits, I think, is from Fatal Frame, which is co-owned by Nintendo, so it gets a big yikes from me. And then we have Halo coming to Master Chief coming to Smash with a Halo game happening. So it speaks for itself. I think if Halo comes to Switch, I think it's almost a guaranteed we're gonna have Master Chief in Smash. It's like the big character for it to be getting at this point in time. I think it's like the biggest character right now. You could say, you could make an argument for Sora, for Tracer, for Monster Hunter, but I don't think there will be anything as emblematic as the mascot of Microsoft. Not only being on a Nintendo system, with playable games, but also being in Smash Bros, which would be insanely mind-blowing. And then, as you can see, we left just two characters for They Might in the high possibility, which is Cosmos and Lloyd Irving. The reason for this are quite simple. Namco might be getting a second rep, and that's why Heihachi's so high and Heihachi's Mikoshi missing. And both of them are from Namco Bandai, funnily enough, I didn't realize that. And both of them would explain the lack of an award presence at the show of the Game Awards. Now you could say, but they don't need to be at the Game Awards. And I will say, yes, they don't. You're absolutely right. They don't need to. But when you have such a big viewing audience, you would think you would want to bring in some more people. And, for example, a Master Chief coming in announced at the Game Awards, that's going to be hype as hell. People are going to eat it up. Going to eat it up. But it didn't happen. And the same thing could be said for a lot of the other characters. The Doomslayer, a Tracer, a Crash, at an award show like the Game Awards with millions of people and millions of people that probably might not own a Switch. It's a great advertising opportunity and marketing opportunity that Nintendo didn't take, especially with what is one of their biggest games of all time in Smash Ultimate. And I think these two might just be it. I think Cosmos, even without what I'm about to say, I think Cosmos would be the most likely one. Although Lloyd is also a Mikoshi that is missing, but he hasn't truly had a chance to come in. Cosmos recently had a mods pack for her for Smash being taken down. So I think that says a lot about what might be happening. We've gotten these hints here and there, like the content strikes on songs that eventually led to characters being in, like what was it? It was Megalovania by Nintendo, so it could be it for Cosmos. So there you have it. This is the tier list for Fighters Pass number 5. Now this has taken 40 minutes. I thought this was going to be shorter. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. Mostly, actually no, I'm gonna do this. I need to put my memory card in my PC to clean, to get the next thing. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna rank, the second part of this video will be me ranking, and it's gonna be basically without an explanation, very quickly, who I think could be in each tier list for the second season. So I'll see you guys after this small cut, so let's do it. Okay, and we are back. So first things first, I don't know why I'm at, so I was waiting for the thing to do. I was watching a YouTube video and I forgot I have it. But anyway, as we can see already, we have here with everyone's in and everybody can be in. I also I'm an idiot because I completely forgot to put the characters that technically speaking were already deconfirmed. I'm an idiot. Where is the things? Where is it? Okay. There's one, there's two. Okay, so now obviously I'm going to try to do it as fast as I can. So let's go with the characters that as they show up here and go at a pace that I think would be good. Okay, so first I think Elma will be in the candy. I think we might be seeing a Xenoblade Chronicles character, but I don't think it will be Elma, and I'll explain to it a little bit because I also have 2 Rexes, and I'll explain to them when we get to them. Obviously, I think Rex will rank higher than her, and so will another character we'll talk in a little bit. And for Pokemon, I'll just put Greninja for both Cinderace and Inteleon. I think Pokemon has a 50-50. It could be, and I don't think it's a guarantee. It also depends on what you're going to be doing with the DLC. Will it just be third parties again? Will it be first parties only? Will they mix it up? And there's something in my hair. It's like right there. I don't know. I kind of went away, I guess. So yeah, it's 50-50. I'll put Echoes, that shows Lucina as the Echo, as a will they? I think it can happen. It all depends on what they decide to do, and I'm really trying to see what it is. I think it's just something in this shelf behind me, like a little bit of hair that was curled up a little bit, and all that. So will they? I think it's appropriate for Echoes. I don't think it's the highest of chances, but it could be. Again, this is all for characters that won't be a part of Fighters Pack 5, or won't be number 5. Then Monster Hunter, I'll put it as I don't know if they are not now. I think they're on the lower spectrum. They will go from the top of the 50s to the lowest of the 50-50s. Cuphead stays on the 50-50s. Character variants, I think it's a very low candidate. I think it's like bottom, because like it feels very weird to have it, you know? I don't think there's really a chance of character variants happening as DLC. It could happen, but I think very unlikely. And by character variants, I mean, you know, another Mario, for example, Paper Mario. That's higher on the list than, say, or even a Luigi in a sense. Are probably, like, would be higher, but like, a character that plays like one of the characters we already have in Smash, but just a little bit tweaked. Then, Soul Bad Guy, I'll put it in Will They, because it does seem like will be higher chance, but not too higher of a chance for it to be in. But slightly higher because of the fact that we just had Terry as a fighting game character, and I think that would be why it would be lower. But at the same time, we did have 2 back-to-back JRPG characters, so it's unclear. I would still put Shantae as a higher 50-50 than before. Yeah, put Monster Hunter as the lowest of the low of the 50s. I think higher than before, higher 50-50, because now we might have had spirits and the first Mii costumes be based off characters that wouldn't be in DLC, and that DLC probably could have been chosen earlier, but now the higher chance is there because they might not be held back anymore by that specific thing. Gino, I put it as a high they might. Actually they can, because I think he's a very high likelihood of a character. I even think it could be the first character of the next DLC wave. I think, here's the thing, when it comes, and I'll put, whenever I put Tracer, I'll put also Crash Bandicoot, because mostly Tracer actually would be lower than Crash in this scenario. It all depends on when DLC was chosen, and whether Nintendo decided to weather the storm about what was happening with Hong Kong and the Activision Blizzard decisions when it came to the protests and the guy protesting for Hong Kong, basically showing support for Hong Kong. It all comes down to that, whether Nintendo decided to weather the storm or not. If they decided to weather the storm, I think she's gonna, well, I'll put her and Crash in the way to do different places because of that. If Nintendo decided to weather the storm, I think both of them are at they might, as a high chance, popular characters, requested characters, and again, with maybe the door now open wider for third parties from the West, we could see that being a thing, and if they decided to weather the storm, wait it out, buckle the train, like let's wait until let's see if things calm down and blow over, or if people stop talking about it on the internet, on the fan bases, I think they would go with it. If they didn't, if they were like, let's not, then obviously they will be at the confirms or will they. So I'll put Tracer at will they, but remember it's more of a can they. It's either her or her and Crash represent the 2 sides of the coin basically. And I do think when we'll get to Crash, I'll say what I do think about both characters. But this is just a placeholder, let's put it that way. Tracer's not here because I think she has lowest, basically, this should be in Canday. Basically lowest of the low, of terms of possibilities is mostly because of if Nintendo decided, no, let's not get into it, let's not wait for to see if it calms down, let's just make the decision of not doing it at all and not risk it. Rillaboom, I think, of the 3 stars, I would put him at the lowest chance, just because of this little drum. If he didn't have the drum, I would probably rank him higher as a more likely possibility of all the 3, but because of that little drum that he has to carry around, I don't think it would be a good choice for the character in Smash. Dante, I'll put it at 50-50, higher a little bit, not too high, but higher than Monster Hunter, and as a possibility, I think for themselves, costumes could happen, and I put them in the Will Day category, because it does seem like thing to do. It's easy money, let's put it that way. It's not easy, but it's easier. I'll put Assassin. I think they were in Can Day, right, the last part, but they'll put them in Will Day. They're higher chance, but not too higher, but the higher. Agumon, I would also like to, I'll unfortunately have to put him in the bottom of the Will Day. Some increase, but not too much of an increase, if you know what I mean. Individual stages, I think it's a 50-50, honestly. Higher, I would say, than Dante or Monster Hunter Happening, but I could see them doing like returning stages or new stages, or to represent some franchises that might have games coming out or that had games in the last year or so, but they couldn't implement them in yet, or they wouldn't have a reason to. Soul Calibur, I think, look, this is how my bad memory is. I don't remember where I put it. I think I put it in Will Day, and I'll still put it at Will Day, below, above Agumon, but still very low on the poll. I will put, again, Will Day, the characters from level 5. Battletoads Battletoads would probably be a high Will Day, I would say. Astral Chain, it depends on when the DLC was chosen. So if the DLC was chosen before August, all the characters, if all the characters were decided before August, no way in hell, it's a Can Day. But I will go with they were going as they went about until the end of the year to see how certain games would do, and they would decide whether or not to put them. So I'll put them as a high, like borderline they might, actually low tier they might. They are low tier they might. They're like just above the 50-50, I would say. Cadence of my rule, I'll put it as a low 50-50, actually lower than, yeah, no, let's put it here, slightly above. Yeah, I think that seems about right. Crash, it will go in they might, because here's the thing, like Tracer represents Nintendo's just saying, no, we're not touching that. This represents Nintendo just bucking the trend and waiting for it. I'll give you an example that probably is happening right now as this video goes up. There was a whole thing, and we all heard, it was all over the news, about what happened to the Saudi journalist in the Turkish embassy, I believe, of Saudi Arabia, where the guy was allegedly tortured and killed. I say allegedly just for, safety of my own, although I don't think anyone would come after me. You never know. But allegedly he got killed in I believe the Saudi embassy in Turkey. I could be misremembering. And throughout a little bit, a lot of companies were requested to end their deals with Saudi Arabia. One of them was WWE. I remember a lot when WWE was doing, it was Crown Jewel, I think, around the same time as this happened. There was a lot of backlash against the company for just going with the money. Now, obviously, you don't have to just think, I don't think sometimes people, I know it's nice to think about certain things, but sometimes it is inevitable. You could say, oh, the money speaks louder. But it's not just the money that speaks louder, it's obligations that you have to do. I mean, contracts are put in place, but I'm not going to discuss that. But I'm just going to say, a lot of people were angry that they're going to done it. But look at it now. Today is the 8th of January. 8th of January 2020. You want to know what's going to be happening at the time this video goes up? If I don't F it up. At the time of this going live, it should be 7 p.m. my time. At 8 p.m. my time, now this goes up at 8 p.m. my time. At 7 p.m. my time, it begins the match, a football match or soccer match for you Americans, between Real Madrid and Valencia in the semifinals of the Spanish Super Cup. And for the Americans in the audience, or the people that might not know football, a Super Cup is when the champion of the league and the winner of the country's club have a match. Normally it's at the beginning of the season for a lot of countries. In Portugal it was, which I'm just gonna say, my club, we beat they're not our biggest rivals, they're our biggest city rivals. We're from the same city, actually from the same road, 5-0, which was delicious to see, if I do say so myself. Although if the club was in such shambolic state, it probably would have been sweeter. And if it was the former president, if it had been the former president, that would have been so nice and tasty, but unfortunately it wasn't. But still, the match, obviously, Spain changed how they're going to do their Super Cup. Obviously, it's not the early season, but I believe they used to do it at this time too, but instead of, because it's the Kingsman Day, I think. It's the Day of All Kings, I think. And that's where Spain celebrates Christmas. And this year, they're doing it differently. There's going to be 4 teams competing for the title. There's going to be a semifinals match today, I believe another one tomorrow, then the finals on Sunday. These matches will all happen in Saudi Arabia, and nobody's really talking about it. The fact that it's in Saudi Arabia, and how disgusting it is that it's in Saudi Arabia, and how dare the clubs go with it, how dare the Spanish Federation go with it. And the Saudi Arabia thing was also recent, and people already don't talk about it. So I would say, if Nintendo decided to go with this route, I'll put Tracer here as well, because it's very likely they would do it. Without it, that's why they're both the polar opposites, basically. Then Dark Souls, 50-50, higher than Shantae, below the Pokemon, but a higher 50-50. I think it has a chance. Spyro, I think it's in Will Day, bottom of the barrel, basically, of the Will Day. Very unlikely. And the drawing returns. Lovely. Kazumi, I think she stays on she stays on Kanday. I would say. Then we have, this is another interesting split. You're seeing here Edelgard and you're seeing here Byleth. I'm gonna go with both characters because I think there's are the 2 most likely characters for Fire Emblem 3 Houses representation in Smash. Should it happen. So, should Nintendo decide to go with a very important character, Sakurai go with a very important character in the games for all stories, that kind of goes against what they would normally do, against the marketing of the game, because the game's market was choose your house. This is basically choosing a house for you. So I put her as a high 50-50, but not the highest of 50-50s. Let's put it here. Maybe one below. And then we'll get to Byleth when we get to Byleth. Then we have Fiora. And I'll put Fiora as another low 50-50. I do think she could be in, but the likelihood of it happening is lower than other characters, and we'll get to some other characters in the meantime when they get to it. King Boo would be an interesting call, but I also think it's a part of the Will Day. Maybe here between echoes and costumes. I would like to see it, especially now that we have broken the rule of characters in Smash that were just jobbers, let's put it that way. And King Boo is a recurring character in Luigi's Mansion and even Mario games. The one thing I think it could hinder King Boo is the fact that he's a big character in the Luigi's Mansion series. Luigi's Mansion in Smash is not its own series, it's part of the Mario universe. So we haven't really seen many Mario spin-off characters. It will be interesting to see, it will be cool to see, but again, might not be it. Then again, Kanday in Jimbanya, because, you know, the company, level 5 going down. Then for 50-50, I'm gonna put Doomslayer and another 50-50. Actually, yeah, highest of the 50-50s, I would say, alongside Dragonborn. Now Dragonborn will be lower, because Sakurai has talked to great length about how Doom was a revolutionary game and talking about the FPS genre and the Americanization of games, and Doom is one of the biggest helpers of the first party shooters becoming a thing. I believe it's one of the first ones. I would say Doom, Wolfenstein. For a guy that doesn't really know much about FPS, I'll say Doom, Wolfenstein, GoldenEye 007, Halo and Modern Warfare, the first Modern Warfare, the original Modern Warfare, are like most likely the most important FPS games ever, because two of them help shape how we have them, and the fact that we have them. Another one helped showcase that it could be done on consoles. The other one to popularize multiplayer, and the other one to popularize the genre itself and online multiplayer. Then indies, they go will they? I think probably here. Below, it seems fair that it's below Shantae and above, below Candace. It seems fair that it will be below Candace because she is a character from a spin-off from Nintendo. Jonesy, I know Jonesy's not the next one, but I'm just going to put him in Kande. I'll put Heihachi once again in They Might. If it doesn't come in Fighter Pack 5, I still think he has a very high chance of being. Ryu Hayabusa, basically the same thing as before. Join the Dark, I think joins the 50-50 club, but not too high. Actually below Dante, but it's still up there. With the more, if we are to believe that we are going to be seeing more and more from the collaborations between Nintendo and Microsoft, I think Join the Dark. Actually no, to be fair, if I'm not going to put Battletoads, she shouldn't be in either. Rayman, I'll put him here. Feels nice here. Not that I like her than Dante, but higher than Monster Hunter in my opinion. Right now, going into the future, if Monster Hunter doesn't happen on Switch, or it's not Character Pack 5, I'm starting to have a difficulty believing that Monster Hunter will get in. Then the same thing as Join the Dark, but I would say probably lower for a Killer Instinct character. Probably right around here, feels right. Cosmos is the one that gets the biggest drop. Her and Lloyd, I would say, I put them both together here, and they go in the Kande. I think they lower a lot. Now, Master Chief with the game, I think he's a very high. I think he's a Kande. I think he's a very high again. I didn't put him before in the Kande because it could have been announced at the Game Awards, but wanting to do on neutral turf or on Nintendo's turf, the announcements also could be it for Halo coming to Switch and Master Chief coming to Smash. Then Byleth, I'll put him at a very high. They might. I think Three Houses has sold too well not to get a character. I know people will complain about another Fire Emblem character and Sword Fighter, but I don't think Sakurai genuinely cares. I think we should base the character on how fun and how good they are and what their moveset is instead of what they're wielding, because again we had more brawlers than anything. Then Steve, again, I'll put it at a Will Day. I don't think he's I think he's the lowest of the Will Days. I don't think he has that much of a chance. I know people are like, but he's a popular character. But the animations, I think, are not there. Then we get to one of the more interesting characters in Rex. The Rex I have here is the Rex that I would love to see in Smash, which is a Rex with multiple blades. Now, if this was, will they be part of the next Smash Brothers game? He would be in the Kande in this form. But because it's DLC, I'll put him as the second highest 50-50s, because I could legitimately just see Sakurai doing it. But because it's DLC, it's also very unlikely they would do 3 characters in one, basically, which is how I think he would go in Smash. 3 to 5 blades, Rex with 3 to 5 blades, and I think because DLC, I think would be very not as likely to happen with another thing we're going to be seeing in a little bit. And Phoenix Wright, I think he stays in the Will Day Will Day. I think Will Day is the one that has the most. Lara Croft, I would say Will Day, but about here I would say. Wonder Red, unfortunately, is in a Kande be DLC. I would love for Wonder Red to be in Smash, but it's very unlikely. And while we're dropping in, boys. Ring Fit Adventure, I'll put it at the middle of the 50-50s because it feels right. It's a popular game, especially in Japan, but we don't know how popular it is in the West. And we haven't seen, not that we haven't seen, it's also depending on where they did the DLC, when they chose the DLC. So yeah, then we have Mortal Kombat. I'll put it at alongside Lara Croft. Surprising would be, I've given my reasons before, I think it would stay here. I think it stayed here. Then Doomslayer, or not Doomslayer, Dragonborn, I'll put it at a 50-50 above Ring Fit Trainer. And stages, it all depends how they want to do it, and I think it will be an interesting choice. Same thing for Sora, again, not much to say, I've said it too much. Then Halo, without a game, I'll say it's the highest of the Will Days. It's very unlikely, but also very probable. Then we have Rex with Pyro, which is the other version I was talking about. And I think this is a they might. I would say higher. No, this is Travis. This is a they might. Higher than right there feels right. Sakurai wanted Rex in the original game, but it came too late, so he wasn't able to work with it. So yeah. Then we have Travis Touchdown, which I'm gonna put in at 50-50, about here. Feels right to have him about here. Again, Nintendo might want to invest somewhat in No More Heroes 3. I think it would be a cheap license to get. Then we have Xenoblade and Zelda. So here's the Xenoblade character without being the characters mentioned above. Unless it's an Echo. Where's the Echoes? An Echo for Shulk of Malos. I think it's very low candidate. It's a high, it could happen, but I very much doubt. And Zelda, I'll put it as a 50-50, especially with Breath of the Wild 2 comes out next year. So here is the top, here's my tier list for Season 2. So yeah, now both of them probably will be flashing on screen. Both my tier lists will be completed and showing up on screen right now. So, or one after the other, so I'm just saving it now on my PC, just to have it, the image. I'm just gonna put S2, so for editing and to show it. So that will be it for this part, and now you're not seeing anything on screen. It's back to me and my ugly mug, so we're gonna go on to the comments. Now, before we get into anything, it's a good thing we got actually delayed a little bit, because now we have the comments from, one more comment for Can They Be DLC from Assassin's Creed, and I'm gonna be completely honest, both comments from the Join the Dark, Killer Instinct, and Battletoads, I've read them before and responded to them in my other video, so I'm going to try to go as fast as I can through them, and I apologize for that because I don't want to repeat to myself too much. So first we begin with Terry Severson, which, great job, dude. I think you missed one episode of Can They Be DLC throughout the entirety of 2019, which is effing incredible. I never expected anyone to watch more than 5 episodes, much less the entirety of it, so brilliant. So Terry Severson said, I think Join the Dark, Battletoads or Killer Instinct characters were to get in, it would be only, they would only get in as Mii costumes or spirits. The new Xbox will be called Xbox, but they plan to have different versions of the Xboxes, and the series of Xboxes is called Series X. I think the person who said that Disney would be okay with Sora being in Smash Ultimate was the CEO of Disney Japan. Also, Nintendo and Disney have a great working relationship ever since Nintendo was making playing cards, which was before Nintendo decided to make video games. And if you need proof that there have been exclusive Disney games, the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime aired on one of Disney's channels, and Bowser appeared in the first Wreck-It Ralph. So a few things here again. You're putting too much weight on things that probably won't matter in the end, because negotiations are a bitch. Anything can go bad in negotiations. One person could change their mind and poof. And unlike Marvel and Star Wars, I don't think there is a specific Disney branch to handle video games and to handle the licensings for the characters from their games. So this might have to go to the higher heads. Also, the person that said it was not the CEO of Disney Japan, it was the VP and General Manager of Disney Japan, which again, unless he's a guy that's right next to the top, I don't think it would matter too much. Yeah, Disney and Nintendo have a great working relationship. That's why Star Wars games don't come to Switch or Nintendo systems. That's why the Disney Afternoon Collection didn't come to Switch. That's why Kingdom Hearts anything has not come to Switch. I don't think it really did. It's also why Disney got the movies. I don't think if the relationship was that good, all these things would have happened. None of them have. Disney doesn't have the movie rights to Nintendo games or franchises. There's no Kingdom Hearts on Switch yet. I do think it's going to come eventually, but yet it hasn't happened. It probably should have already. Star Wars, let's not even get to that, but also you could say, oh, but graphics, but given the fact that how the games are, I don't even think Disney cares, but that's beside the point. So yeah, and like, great relationships, again, don't mean much. People have great relationships and end them because sometimes people are assholes, and I don't trust Disney. I said this once and I'll say it a million times. I don't trust Disney. To me, they're like a big, they're like EA, except they know how to run except the people that they purchase are actually be able to do something and be successful. Unless it's Lucasfilms with Star Wars. And it might just be because of Kathleen Kennedy. Maybe, I don't know. Apparently she's leaving. But I don't know, it could just be that it's just a mess there at Disney. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know. Also, if that thing about the Xbox is real, that is the stupidest thing ever. I'm sorry. You want to call it Xbox and have a different series of consoles? Sure. But don't call it Series X. You know, if you want to do it, like, go ahead, do it. There's nothing against it. PlayStation has been a series of consoles for 20 years. I think the Switch is going to become the Nintendo model going forth. Game Boy was a series, and so was the DS. And they tried to do it with the Wii U, and so was the Nintendo, the NES, and then the Super NES. But don't call it first series, and second give it the name of the previous console, which was X. I think that's just it's bad marketing. It's dumb. And honestly, I would love to work for Microsoft because apparently you can get away with the stupidest ideas. Especially when it comes to naming things. Who the hell thought that Xbox One X was a good name? And then was like, you know what? Let's call our next console Series X because that's not going to be confusing at all. Or the first series of a brand new multiple versions of the system, Series X. That won't be confusing at all to anyone. It's like they saw the Wii U and the new Nintendo 3DS and thought, we're gonna do that because that clearly is the way. Anyway, yeah, and I agree with Join the Dark, Battletoads, or Killer Instinct as playable characters. Highly unlikely, and my PC is doing that screen thing again. I have to check out what's open that shouldn't be. And yeah, I guess we have to wait and see, but I think they would be lower on the spectrum again, like the Tierlist showed. Then Ahid Abdullah, I hope I didn't butcher that name, talk about which Pokemon will make in the next Smash game. Rillaboom, Cinderace, Inteleon, Colossal, Toxicity, Grimmsnarl, Obstagoon, Surfetch'd, Mr. Rime, Berserker, Gravelock, Dragonbolt, or Morpeko. So obviously I've talked about the first three. Not in high detail, but giving them 50-50 chances on any one of them could be. But let me look at the other ones that you put in here. I'm going to start off by saying that I don't think Mr. Rime, Berserker, Gravelock, or Morpeko would be a part of Smash. I think they would. Mr. Rime and Berserker, I don't see them. I could see them as Pokeball Pokemon, but I don't see them as characters. Gravelock, Morpeko, another one of the mascot Pokemon for being Pokeballs. Gravelock would be interesting, but I just don't see it, especially with the other ones being far more interesting Pokemon. He could be just a grappler, but we already have technically that from Pokemon. Dragonbolt would be interesting, very much so, but I don't see it just because of how he works, or she works, so they work. Dragonbolt has very tiny hands and tiny arms and tiny legs. So I don't see how they would be hanging off the ledge, you know, stuff like that. I think all the things have to make sense, and I don't think it would make a lot of sense. Colossal, although it's an interesting Pokemon, I don't see how it could work. They've moved very sluggish, so I guess it could do something, but I think it's of the more unlikely ones. Surfetch'd, though, I would love Surfetch'd. It'll be interesting. I don't see it. I don't know why. It's a Pokemon I would really like to see, but I don't think he will. I think it's going to be very basic Pokeball Pokemon where he just does his signature move at you. Now Grimmsnarl, Obstagoon, and Toxicity are Pokemon that will be very interesting to see, and I think all three could. Especially Toxicity. He's one of the most beloved Pokemon from the newest generation, but we have to wait and see until what we get with Pokemon who they choose as the starter for Ash that evolves, because that's basically what guarantees you a spot in Smash. Especially if you look at Generation 6 and 7, where Greninja was the one that Ash had, and it was a character in Smash. It was the one they chose. And the same thing for Incineroar. It's basically what they chose to be the one. So yeah, and it all depends on like who they decide to be the mascot of the generation. We don't have a mascot for the generation yet. I could see Toxicity and Obstagoon being it, and I would say both of them would probably be below the starters as possible characters. Then, as I was saying, we did get one more comment coming from Christopher BF in the Assassin's Creed episode, saying Assassin's Creed makes sense. Ubisoft wrapped since Rayman and Rabbit are spirits, they can just call him Assassin, and it can be famous for Europeans since each DLC has been a region favorite or has a history with a place on Earth. AC Collection is on Switch, as promoted from more than one official Nintendo Direct. Monster Hunter has a crossover with Metal Gear and Final Fantasy and Assassin's Creed. So putting Assassin makes sense for Rathalos. His own skins can be the different iterations of those who worn the mantle, similar to Bowser Jr. or a hero's own colors, and can have a female counterpart like Robin, Wii Fit, Corrin, or Inkling. The banner color can be white since it's a used color. The splash screen can say something like Assassins makes history. Assassin has my vote, besides Master Chief, which is, and this is very well put together, very good comment. For Fighter Spec 5, I would agree with the spirits. Now, I've changed my mind on that, but I don't think it will matter for the seasons going forth. But then again, I think I always said that I didn't think it mattered because we did not know if there was going to be DLC past the Fighter's Pass. I think so. It's hard to remember sometimes. I've said so much bullshit on this channel that it's all muddles together. I mean, you just saw how bad I was with trying to remember what I did with the DLC for the first tier list that I did. It's interesting that he did so many crossovers. I did not know that Assassin's Creed has done that many crossovers yet. I don't know if he's that Assassin's Creed is. I mean, Assassin's Creed probably is very popular in Europe. I probably want to be quiet about that. It'll be interesting, but here's the thing. I don't know how many. Like you say, they could do multiple versions of of them, but how many assassins? I don't even know how many assassins there are. But I'm like, wouldn't it need to be like at the very least? Well, I mean, no, I was gonna say they would probably want to do like the first original one, then Ezio. As the guys that would be in, but like, yeah, they could do. I was gonna say, but would that leave enough room for like a female version? Has there been that many female assassins? I know there was one for the PS Vita game, which was Rebellion. I know there was another one for, was it Unity? It was not Unity. It was the one that came after, the one that was in the UK. I know that there's two. I don't know if there's more. I don't know if Odyssey. I know the last one, Odyssey, had it too. Not the last. I don't think, was Odyssey the last one? I don't remember. I legit don't. But yeah, I guess it could be. So actually a good comment, but I still think it could happen season 2. But again, I think that it all depends. I think Rayman probably is higher. And Rabbids too, especially if we get another Rabbids crossover. But that's it. That's your lot for this series, and this series will return for one more episode at the end of the DLC to look back at every character that I said and see who got in, who didn't get in, and looking at the other characters of the series and seeing how likely they are for a third game. So anyway, or not a third game, what the hell am I talking about? To the next game of Smash Brothers. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I've been the Legend of the S. Have a great 2020, and I'll see you guys tomorrow when we have the Pokemon Direct, and hopefully I don't get spoiled about anything. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.